A bowl game with a little attitude, a little vibe, a little twist, maybe a little bit more intrigue or importance than most of the other ones. We got Florida, we got UCF, we got David Waters on the line from Gators Breakdown. Please subscribe to his channel right here on YouTube and head on over to your favorite audio podcast platform and find Gators Breakdown. Dave, how you doing today?
Good, Mark. Good. How about you?
I'm doing well. So let's hit this UCF matchup because this is one of the things that critics of bowl games would point to as being, okay, let's at least get some programs or teams together where there's a bit of a storyline here. And obviously UCF has now entered into the Big 12 or will be soon and playing some big boy football and trying to make their claim for the top program in the state. Florida's where it is. So in regards to whether you want to term it as a rivalry or a battle for the Sunshine State, you know, we're looking at 80% empty stadiums across college football bowl games, but that's not going to be the case for this one. Some of that has to do with location, but at the same time, people want to see these two teams on the same field.
Yeah, this is the matchup, especially since Central Florida had, started their rise through the AAC. Scott Frost goes there and leads them to those New Year's Six games. Of course, that does the Big Three in Florida become the Big Four with UCF's rise there recently? Fallen down since Scott Frost has left, of course, but it's put them on. It's put a spotlight on them a bit, and this is a game, of course, that a lot of fans in the state of Florida, especially on the UCF side, has wanted to see, and they've even scheduled a 3-game series. 2 games will be in Gainesville, 1 will be in UCF in the coming years. So, but yeah. Standing, first of all, this bowl game sold out. Then they had standing room only tickets, and they sold those out as well. So you might be looking at one of the rare sellouts besides the playoff games out there. And Mark, as you said, the game's in Tampa. It's between 2 Florida schools right now. And even from the Florida side with the lame duck staff, making a drive to Tampa, just go see your team play one more time in 2021. That's really what it's more about, going out there and supporting those players one more time, because this is a lame duck staff. Greg Knox, the interim coach, taking over for Dan Mullen once he got fired there. So it's just one more time to go support Damian Pierce and Kyrie Elam and those guys, Malik Davis, and hometown kid in Tampa who's going to be playing his last game there in the bowl game. So yeah, there's a little bit of storylines here. I guess if you want to probably look at it, UCF really hyped up. This is a chance for them to get a victory over one of the Big Three in the state of Florida. They don't care what the situation is for Florida. If it's a lame duck staff or Anthony Richardson's not going to play and Emory Jones is going to be quarterback, they don't really care about that side of it. They want to get a win over Florida any way possible. And for Florida, it is to, go, if you want to call it a state championship or whatever, you beat FSU in the season finale, so you can go beat UCF, you can claim a state championship. But this is for their time, the relationship they have with this staff, these players playing together one last time. We'll see if they put it all together. But Florida hasn't even really taken advantage of all their bowl practices. I think you get 15 bowl practices. Florida may hit half of that. Once they go into that, they, as of yesterday, that would have been Tuesday of this week, Florida practiced, I think, 4 or 5 times. So they may hit 7 by the time the game rolls around. So, 6 or 7. So we'll see if that means anything, what that means for Florida. But definitely not taking advantage of all the full bowl practices from what we're hearing.
Thursday night matchup, UCF 8-4, Florida 6-6. Under normal circumstances, if this was another team, I might question the Gators' incentive, and maybe I still do, so I'm asking you this question. But at the same time, they had a rivalry game against FSU, and it was winner take all to get to bowl play, and they were able to pretty much control/dominate most of that game and show that they wanted to keep playing football. So this is what they asked for.
Yeah, I mean, the part of that, the holdouts is always a big part of bowl season now, Mark. And then Zach Carter, you can see why maybe he'll be probably one of the higher draft picks. But Kyrie Elam's going to be, he's forecasted still to go in the first round. He's going to play. Zach Carter, this is a game in his hometown of Tampa. You would have thought maybe he would have taken advantage to play in his hometown one more time, but he's decided to opt out. But he's going to be the only opt-out for the Gators. Damian Pierce talked to the media on Tuesday and said, he signed to play 4 years at Florida. He's going to play every game. He's going to take every advantage of it. And you saw his heart and determination against FSU when his helmet comes off and he's still running toward the end zone. And stupidly gets called for a flag, not of his volition, of the officials. Stupidest rule in one of the stupidest rules in college football. I guess he's just supposed to sit there and lay down and let guys hit him. But you saw the determination and the will that Dameon Pierce brought to the last game of the season versus FSU. He's going to play in this game as well. So, Mark, I don't necessarily really question what the players will probably bring to the table. Probably more the questions for me about the staff. Are they looking forward to their next job? Have they been interviewing for their next job? Have they been taking this game as serious as they possibly can? So not necessarily for the players on my end. It's more about the preparation from the coaching staff, who looks right now there will be no holdovers from Dan Mullen's staff for Billy Napier, at least there's on-field positions. There might be some behind the scenes, some recruiting guys, some analysts back there that may stay for Billy Napier's staff, but it looks like every on-field coach from Dan Mullen's staff, none of those guys will be retained for Billy Napier's staff. So you even wonder, the mental aspect of that when you look at this game for the Gators.
David Waters, Gators Breakdown. You got to check him out right here on YouTube, covering Florida football, or your favorite audio platform. Please like the video, share these videos out on social media, subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football, break it down UCF and Florida from the Gators angle on this. And with no Anthony Richardson in play, Emory Jones in this unique circumstance where, this has come up with a few other teams and it's been like, no, you're not playing in the bowl game, move on. But they kind of need him. So I guess it kind of works out. He gets the audition for the transfer portal, and he's going to play this final game. And like I say, they need him. And if you could let us know who would, God forbid, he goes down, back him up.
Yeah, one neat dynamic of this, Mark, I was talking to Brandon Helwig from UCF Sports, and we were previewing the game together. And Emory Jones, maybe a slim chance, maybe a far chance, but could maybe be auditioning for his next team when he plays against UCF. They're maybe looking for a quarterback. Dylan Gabriel transferring out, not in the program, and we'll see. Their quarterback who took over this year, Keene. He took over there for Gabriel. So Mikey Keene, it took me a second to remember his first name, but Mikey Keene took over for Dylan Gabriel. He was a true freshman. So would they go try to get some experience maybe from an Emory Jones who's transferring from Florida? So it could just be a easy transition there, maybe an easy audition. Maybe Gus Malzahn talks to him on the field right after the game or something like that. But Emory Jones, Mark, we know about his struggles this year. I mean, even in the last game versus Florida State, throwing 3 interceptions, was some of them really inexcusable. All the issues that we had heard about coming into the season played throughout the whole season with the lack of accuracy, lack of anticipation, and just saw it play out over and over and over again, including in the last game versus Florida State. So he will be the guy leading the charge. Anthony Richardson went ahead and had a minor knee surgery to get ready for spring ball to hit the ground running when Billy Napier gets in and installs a spring game plan, spring practice all throughout those practices. So Anthony Richardson decided to go ahead, have that surgery, and then that leaves you with Jalen Kitna, Carlos Del Rio for the Gators. And Carlos Del Rio was the Elite 11 quarterback there. He probably will be the next guy. And then Jalen Kitna. Those are the 2 quarterbacks, Mark, that if things go wrong with Emory Jones, if they don't decide, hopefully he doesn't get injured or anything like that. But if that's the case, or he's just not playing well, like we've seen it multiple times this year, Florida, if they have to go to another quarterback, Del Rio and Kitna are the 2 guys.
Dave, of course, the last time we got together, and I'm sure you've covered it a zillion times in regards to the adversity and the challenges facing Billy Napier hitting the ground running on the recruiting trail. But certainly when you bring in Kamari Wilson, that catches a lot of people's attention and think, okay, Gator fans, maybe you do have the right guy in regards to the recruiting process of what we just saw for the last 3 to 4 years. So your thoughts about where Napier's class stands and what other work has to be done?
Yeah, Mark made a splash on signing day, getting Kamari Wilson, getting Shamar James, especially those 2 guys that you were fighting against Georgia for those 2 guys. And what did we say for the last few years? You've got to be able to, start winning some of those battles on a more consistent basis, and you're able to do so on signing day. And if you're going to close that gap, that talent gap that Alabama and Georgia holds against you, you've got to start getting more guys like that. So hopefully that first day, early signing day, that first opportunity was in hopefully was a hint of what we'll see Billy Napier be able to do on the recruiting trail when he's given more time. And then starting that morning, or early signing day, Devin Moore chose Florida over Notre Dame. So, three big-time guys at Florida really needed to get in on to kind of send a message that, hey, it is going to be a little different under Billy Napier there. So, of course, you look at the class right now, overall about 30th, but a lot of big commitments happened in the transition. Billy Napier decided not to stick with some of those guys, because, and he has that right. This is his team now. This is his class. And if he wants to go in a different direction with a lot of these recruits, then by all means, he has the right to do that. So we'll see in these next 6-7 weeks, Mark, as we go to the February part of signing day, where Florida's going to go. Transfer portal, I'm sure, will be a big part of where Florida should go. Maybe if Zach Evans as a running back, Terrence Lewis, Maryland linebacker, maybe somebody to look out for there. They just got Jack Miller, who you know well about, Mark, there from Ohio State as a quarterback there, to probably back up Anthony Richardson. But if Anthony Richardson has some setbacks of injury with that knee, or he's been injury prone through his career or this past year at Florida, the Miller, a little bit of experience there, going through a heavy spring practice rotation last year for Ohio State that Florida could throw into the mix as well. Because look, we just talked about it. Emory Jones is gone. Who knows what Carlos Del Rio and Jalen Kentner are going to do with this new staff as well. One of those guys may leave as well. So Florida just needed some quarterback depth as a just in case there for the Gators. But Mark, I think where Florida will probably start looking now. UTEP wide receiver Jacob Coing, he just put himself in the portal. He was the seventh he was ranked 7th nationally in receiving yards this past season. So of course he enters the transfer portal. Florida's been in contact with him there. So I think that's one more name to look out for. But as far as recruiting goes, pure recruiting from the high school ranks, you start looking at some running backs there from the state of Louisiana that Billy Napier went and visited as soon as he was on the job at Florida. Trevor Etienne, Travis's little brother, Javante Citizen, both those guys from the state of Louisiana. So there's a connection there. And you'll see, I think, Etienne, more than likely a better chance for Napier to bring in this class more so than Citizen. So I think that's two big guys and two big targets I think you start looking out for. And Mark, before we go forward, we just got the unfortunate news before you and I went live here. Robbie Roper, a quarterback from the state of Georgia, Florida was in on. He had won the 5A, 7A, whatever classification he played in. He won the Offensive Player of the Year, but got the unfortunate news this morning. He passed away this morning, or complications started yesterday on Tuesday, and then his family from his Twitter account sent out the message that he had an unfortunate medical situation and he passed away. He was in contact with Florida all over the weekend and stuff. So medical situation there. So thoughts and condolences go out there to that family. Unfortunate situation that we're learning about here around the holidays. So never a good time for that. But his name is just kind of blown up because Florida was really in contact with him, and then we get that unfortunate news there. So while we're talking about recruiting, I'd be remiss if I can't bring that up.
Terrible. The coaching staff set us up in regards to what spots have been filled, what's left to go.
Let me see. Come off the top of my head here, Mark. Of course, the big splash, Corey Raymond, getting him from LSU, big time pickup for Billy Napier, and really hit the big splash there. And not only that you got him from LSU, Mark, but if he was willing to leave LSU, you can best bet there are all kind of programs around the country, especially in the Southeast, that would love to have Corey Raymond on their sideline. So for Billy Napier in his first season at Florida to be able to pull Raymond away from LSU, whatever other big program would want him on their sideline, is a big coup for him. Patrick Toney, right now, co-DC comes over with him from Louisiana, was big, instrumental in getting that big commitment from Shamar James on signing day. But he's thought to be a big up-and-comer, young guy, defensive coordinator there that Billy Napier is going to be bringing in for that co-DC role. And we'll see how that rest of the staff fills out and to see if that's going to be co-DC or just DC. I think we have to wait for the NFL season, Mark, from what we're hearing. Let that play out before Florida brings some more of their defensive staff over as well. And then one more pull from USC. Kerry Colbert, the wide receiver coach at USC, he had been there for the last 6 seasons. He comes over from Florida as a wide receiver coach. They had him and Napier had a background at sorry, Mark. They had a background back at Bama from their connections there. So you're starting to see a lot of his Bama connections when he was there under Saban, some guys that were there at the same time. You start seeing a lot of those guys come over that connection. So a lot of Louisiana connections as well. Jabbar Jalouk was the running back coach now for Florida. He'll be heavy. There's 2 recruits I just talked about at running back that Florida's going to be in on. You best bet he's going to be heavy in with the relationship with those guys as well. So it should be a good mix, Mark, of some big names like, as I said, with Colbert from USC, Raymond from LSU, some guys from the NFL. I think they'll be probably have to wait when those seasons get over with before those are officially announced for Florida. But that's what we're hearing behind the scenes of where Florida's going to go to maybe fill out the rest of the staff.
Well, David, if I'm not mistaken, as soon as you mentioned Kerry's name, I thought Dwayne Jarrett, Mike Williams, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart. I think he was on all those USC teams, I believe.
When he played?
Yes.
Yeah. If I could pull him, I might have to pull it up, Mark. But yeah, he's been there the last 6 seasons as a coach. So, that's he's only 39. So, yeah, you're probably
right. As soon as you said that name, he would have been playing, 17, 18 years ago, early 2000s, maybe Carson Palmer range.
Yeah. Summary I pulled up quickly.
I think he was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I mean, some of the names that he's Michael Pittman Jr., probably one of the biggest names there. In recent memory there that he's helped develop at USC.
Good stuff. David Waters, Gators Breakdown. Last thing here, David, people checking out Florida football here in a couple days, and maybe a lot of people gave up on the Gators and didn't watch much down the stretch after a couple losses. Who are you looking to show us something here going into spring football in 2022?
2022? I love it. Hopefully Anthony Richardson can hit the ground running, Mark. It's going to be big for him as this big coaching change comes along. I think for
but in regards to the ball game coming up Thursday, what do you want to see out of some young players either side of the ball?
Hopefully, while I want to see Damian Pearson in his last game, Mark, be able to go out, Malik Davis, those 2 guys go out. I want to see some of the young running backs. Billy Napier's going to run the ball. He's based his offense off of what we go back to Louisiana and see a pistol style of offense, and they run the ball. They like to run the ball. It's about a 60-40 split there. So can DeMarcus Bowman, Lorenzo Lingard, all throughout bowl practices, can those young guys get some carries? I want to see, as much as I want to see Damian Pierce go crazy in his final game, Davis as well, I'd love to see, as you kind of say, Mark, maybe a preview for 2022, some of those young running backs that we did not get to see a whole lot from this past season with DeMarcus Bowman, Lorenzo Lingard. I'd love to see if those guys can get in to the rotation more so in the bowl game. Naquan Wright, he got injured versus FSU, and Florida's used 3 running backs a whole lot this year. So would one of those guys be that third back if Florida's going to continue with a heavy rotation in the bowl game? And on the defensive side, I'll go Jason Marshall. Had an interception in that FSU game to end the season as well. He can kind of continue up. He's going to be taking that CB1 mantle away from Kyer Elam. This will be the last time they get to play together, as Kyer Elam will go to the NFL. So Jason Marshall, can he kind of just build off that FSU game performance and kind of get Gator Nation excited? In kind of the same situation Kyer Elam did. His freshman year versus Virginia, had a big-time interception in the bowl game versus the Cavaliers right there in the end zone. So, that kind of just set up his career. You knew he was going to be special. Can we kind of see the same performance from Jason Marshall on the defensive side of the ball versus UCF?
Yeah, Jason Marshall, a huge national recruit. So, David Waters, Gators Breakdown, favorite audio platform or right here on YouTube. Either way, just look up Gators Breakdown. It's the best in Florida football coverage. David, enjoy the game. 7-6 sounds better than 6-7, but otherwise it is what it is,
That's right, Mark. It is. Yeah. So we'll enjoy these Gators one more time before we turn the page to the Billy Napier era. And Mark, if I don't see you before then, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and enjoy all the time with the family.
Absolutely. Same to you.